Okay, so we have another feature today. This is a friend of the show that once upon a time sent in the biggest collection of frogs. This is a feature of his bodysuit in general. We're not just talking about frogs today, although I'm sure we'll find time to talk about the many frogs that this guy has. I don't think there's anyone alive that probably has more frogs than him, but if you do, feel free to prove me wrong.
All right. So Mick says, as I said, the design has meanings to me in terms of what I choose. It was also done part by part over 6 years. We started with the sleeves and chest panels of the masks. The two koi on my right arm were to represent me and the wife as the fish were traveling upstream against obstacles. Other people work health, to mention a few. We headed towards the symbolic Golden Gate. The masks were to represent the different faces that people can put on, hence the masks. The koi in folklore can be changed into an all-powerful dragon, and he is swooping down my other arm to show that we have overcome these things. Next was started on my right leg. I wanted a Daruma doll, with the traditional one eye left open. While the wish I made was granted, it is now colored in as that wish has been granted. A Daruma didn't sit great on the knee, so we sat for a good long while to decide what to do, and a frog holding it was the best idea we had, so it also lent itself for further work, as the idea had just been decided while working out ideas. Laugh out loud. Next we worked on the rest of the leg. Another Daruma was also added with a new wish for the future, and 3 further frogs to represent my 2 children and my wife. The kids are younger versions.
Just say you like frogs.
Yeah. Younger versions as they were at the time of inking. I'm holding the Daruma. My wife is the one thinking, wanting some peace. My lad is trying, as always, to get his mom, and my daughter is holding our white and black cat in a flower. The cat also, and the 2 dogs have a snake tattoo intertwined to connect them. Historically, the female has her paws on a cub foo dog, so a little foo dog, but I wanted a Daruma, so asked for the foo face in the Daruma, and the fill was very exciting to do this, as he has never seen or heard of one before. That's kind of cool. The chrysanthemum flowers and maple leaves represent autumn in the Japanese tattoo, and that ties all the scenes together as one piece. I wanted this style of bodysuit with the gap in the middle, as I find it most striking suit style. It's also like historically accurate. And historically, firefighters used to have this style of tattoo suit under their fire kit as a form of protection. It was said to show how brave they were. They also left that space open, so you didn't know they had a tattoo when they were wearing their kimono open, which I think is really cool. My artist has said he has a lot of fun working on this suit and really enjoyed working with me and my ideas, and said we worked together great. If you do manage a suit review, would you mind mentioning him, as I know his son is a fan? Oh, nice. And he'd appreciate it, definitely. I know you have his Insta from my messages to you. He's Phil Wood at Black Crown Tattoo in Leeds, Yorkshire. Many thanks, and hope it's not too much waffle. This is...
It's a bit of waffle.
This is for your info, and I don't expect you to read this out. Laugh out loud.
Oh, no, well, we do.
We read it out.
It's a little hard to do synopsises of these things. It would be pretty hard to remember, offhand. But yeah, it was a lot.
You get my monotone too.
There's a bit of waffle, but not too much waffle. We've had more waffle, believe it or not.
Yeah.
With all that said, immediately it's really classic looking Japanese bodysuit.
Yep.
Obviously, I like these things a lot.
I'm really happy that you kept the split down the middle. I like that traditionality.
If I were to do this, there would be no split down the middle, and it would be, it would go like all the way.
Traditionally, though,
I understand.
They wanted to
I'm
hide
not
their
fucking with
tattoos.
tradition. I'm just telling you that, like, there were a lot of things that we did in those times for specific reasons, and some of them were, more or less okay, and some of them didn't make sense. But like they used to say, we don't tattoo armpits because then you can't breathe through your skin can't breathe and all that shit. And that's not really a thing.
Yeah.
Like, there were all kinds of traditions.
But this was mostly about like
you
not
see that
having
he
your
has not done the
showing.
armpits either.
Yeah.
So,
but also just not having your tattoos showing was
I
it was a
understand.
really big deal.
I understand and I respect that tradition. It's just, for me, like, I would do this same look. I would just do those things too.
I know.
Like, if I had a closet, like that funny Simpsons meme of me picking through bodysuits.
Yeah.
I would have
full.
a Japanese traditional bodysuit in there.
Maybe one day you will. You don't know.
I mean, maybe. I mean, my only real critique of this that I can say offhand, just looking at, the front view here, and then we'll get to the back, and go to the sides, is, like, this has a great look, but, like, nothing is particularly grabbing my focus all at once. Like, it's this, and we said this when we were talking about the frogs, it's like the longer you look at it, the more you get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like an initial glance, it's just like, that's really cool.
It's like a Where's Waldo.
Well, it does
You're
become
like,
a Where's
and
Waldo.
this means this, and that means that, and,
And
this
there
is
was
really
a lot
well
of
done.
love put into this.
And thought, like a lot of thought of, and care was taken to make sure that the symbolism and that things were represented properly.
Color play is great here too, right? Like that red, like the red demon face on the chest there is propped up by the colors supporting it. But even at that point, I wish it was a little bigger. Right. That's my only real concern, is I wish he went the whole chest panel with it and had less at the background. Which the background is great because it's consistent throughout. You see it everywhere.
It unites the whole entire bodysuit, like they said. I think that's really important.
It's impressive when you go, I'm going to do a bodysuit with this artist, and you just, because like it's almost impossible these days to do that. That's such a commitment, especially if you're traveling for someone. Like if you have to go far for this specific person, you may as well move there at that point.
Yeah.
They're not next door. You're going to be doing that for your entire life. So it's a lot. It's a lot,
Yeah.
With all that said, I do like this one a lot. I'm a big fan of Japanese work anyway.
Me too. I'm a big
full
fan
color.
of Japanese, especially like the bodysuits. I really like these. I love the stories that they tell. I love the color. I love the like smoke bars in the background.
All the waffle that he was talking about, it's like, I think if you were to ask any tattooed person that got that far into tattooing, they can come up with a story for what everything means. Like I could sit and explain where I was at when I got everything done and what it meant to me, but like no one will understand any of that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, those things are just, I always think they're just justifications for us to get the things we want.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, for
sure. It's just like, for anyone else, it's just going to be like fluff. So I would hesitate to give anything too much weight, right? Like it would just be like, oh, okay, you like frogs.
Yeah.
Oh, you like Japanese tattoos. So let's find a way to get there. There's nothing wrong with that, though, either. That's not a knock on any of this. I just wish that there was one point in this, and I see one. I do see the dragon face on his arm there that stands out a bit, but everything else is just kind of cool stuff. Now, when we go to the back, I see the snake head and the snake's
huge.
body,
And his
and
whole
it travels
body, yeah.
around his leg. I love that thing. The only thing that I would ask for is maybe to get a thicker line around the snake's face, like just so that the snake is a little bolder. Because he gets a little bit, and I'm not trying to be rude here because I really like this piece. The snake face is not as bold as I would like it to be. It's hard to differentiate the face from
the background.
see
Like
where it's coming here,
chrysanthemums and stuff,
right?
yeah.
Like behind it, you can see that there's depth here, and I know there's depth here, but it's hard to see that it's.
I think that And again, this is a beautifully done
Wow, it's so much fucking
back
work in
piece.
here.
You see where on the one side there's that big blue like chrysanthemum.
Yeah.
If there was another one of those fall like leaves instead of that chrysanthemum or in front of that chrysanthemum, I think it would have pushed forward that green face. Because those two things are too like in tone. They're both cool colors. I think that could have helped.
It would have, but like all they really do need is a very hard black line to separate those.
I just don't know if that goes with the Japanese style.
Well, they have hard black in places around there, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are decent line weights used here. It's just that I think that just there, if they had just a bit of a harder edge, it probably would set him apart just a bit more. That being said, like, it's fucking awesome, and you almost never see this scale, and people don't understand like how hard it is to do something like this, to lay out a piece that's gonna work the entire body, and you can see the movement of this snake through everywhere. Like, how many times you see a dragon where it's like, where is it coming from? Like, what's happening? Like,
where's it coming
where
from?
is the anatomy go? Like, and also to get consistently saturated colors at the same level throughout the bum cheek and the shoulder,
the whole
and like
thing is just so vivid.
Well, and if any of it's off,
saturated.
you'll notice.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, you know.
And I think it's been well taken care of too by the person who owns it.
It has. It has a look where, like, you could have told me this was 20 years ago. You could have told me this is 40 years ago, because it's that classic look that, like, it surprises me when I hear this is only 6 years. Not because it looks old and faded, but because this is the way these things have always been done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this tattoo doesn't necessarily have an age. Like, it looks very timeless.
Yeah.
And so, not to say that it looks old and beat up, it's just, it looks like it's from another era. Another thing that does irritate me about these suits is they did not do the nipples. And I would need that done. Because it's so out of place there. One thing that I really liked about this suit, we talked about it when he showed us the frog tattoos, is like, even his tattoos have tattoos. Like, his frogs have tattoos.
Yeah, I think that's funny too.
You can find them in certain areas here. If you're looking close, the little tattoo, like the frogs have little blue line tattoos on them.
That's so cool.
Dragons and stuff. So it's just that, like, that level of love that was put into this.
So much little detail.
I have no doubt that he'll find reasons to come and keep, like, working on little things here and there, because he's told me he's had a little bit of, like, I wouldn't say post-tattoo depression in the sense that we talked about in the one episode. It's more like he enjoyed doing this and having this ritual in his life where he goes in and they work on something, and it may not even be a lot each time. Sometimes it's more than another, but like, they're always working on this project.
Yeah.
And then when that project ends, it's like,
it's so depressing. You're losing a whole chunk of your life, right?
Yeah.
It's like graduating from school or something.
I have another friend that has a Japanese bodysuit who he'll be getting his own feature on here in due time. He frequently flirts with the idea of blacking something out because he misses getting tattooed, because he's been, like, living vicariously through me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I told you about him. He's the one that wanted me to black out my head all those years ago.
Yeah, and I said you'd look like Scuba Steve.
Yeah, so he has, like, a similar vibe of bodysuit, and it's like, he knows that if he starts that, then he has to, like, keep going, right? And it's like, but he doesn't want to be done getting tattooed because he misses it. So when you have something like this, where it's like, this is one piece all throughout your body, it's very hard to start making little modifications, and they have to be done in a way that's sensible.
I guess you just go get the whole thing touched up.
Well, you would.
Piece by piece, right?
But, like,
every few years.
Yeah, but some of it is like, with getting tattooed, is you want to make changes. Whereas
you want the progress.
This is pretty much perfect for what it is. Like, there are things that could be probably worked on and made better, but, like, in terms of what you can do with this to make it a lot better in a different sense, there isn't much.
Yeah.
So you're just going to be kind of like fine-tuning things and polishing things, and so that's where I understand the sadness that comes in at the end of something like this, where it's like, this was such a huge part of your life, something you really enjoyed, and now it's kind of just, that's over now. You just appreciate what you have. That would be difficult for me.
Yeah.
obviously.
Well, obviously.
We-
You haven't ever been just finished.
I do have, well, I've had moments where I could have been finished.
Well, you said once that you were going to be, and then like a month later, we're like, nope, never mind.
It's tough to quit something that becomes a part of your life. It's more than, it's not so much even an addiction thing. It's like you actually enjoy the whole culture and the hang and all of it, especially if you're close with your artists. Another guy that's coming up on here too, same thing. He has another Japanese bodysuit, another friend of mine, another really high level Japanese bodysuit. He got to this place. He stayed here for a long time. Same sort of thing. Like he had the line. And now he's just started doing, like he did his hands. And then he did his neck. He's going to do his head now. And he's putting harder blacks and like brighter colors in places.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, there are some things like he could still do his feet. He could still do his hands. He could still do his, like that. Sometimes years later that comes.
Yeah, and like I mean, right now
So.
it's about being the traditional Japanese bodysuit, but eventually break the mold, right?
Well, you can if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, that guy's going to come up too. I'm not going to talk all about different people here. This guy's got his own cool look. I like it a lot. It's very cool that he kept to the tradition. There is more he can do if he wants to, though. So if you do find yourself wanting that, it's on the table for you. So there are ways to continue.